You know how every villain origin story starts with everyone rooting for them? Yeah, that was Rachel Zegler in 2018. Flashback to December 2018. Rachel's just your average 17-year-old high schooler from New Jersey, uploading cover songs to YouTube and starring in school musicals.
Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live by these waters?
Her cover of Shallow from A Star Is Born starts quietly racking up views. People in the comments are like, OMG, you're the next Gaga! And for once, the internet isn't being sarcastic.
I'm off the deep end, watches I dive in.
Meanwhile, Steven Spielberg, yes, the Steven Spielberg, is secretly holding an open casting call for his dream project, a big, splashy remake of West Side Story. 30,000 girls auditioned. You heard that right. 30,000. And somehow, through a cosmic glitch in the Matrix or divine intervention or whatever, Rachel Zegler, a teenager with literally zero film experience, gets the call. January 9th, 2019. Rachel posts the now iconic tweet, I am playing Maria in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Somebody pinch me. Yes, all caps. Yes, she was freaking out, wouldn't you? Overnight, Rachel went from that girl who sings on YouTube to Hollywood's next big thing. Entertainment Weekly called her a once-in-a-generation talent. Variety said she was poised to be a household name. Spielberg himself told reporters she's the real deal. The Rachel Zegler hype train had officially left the station, and baby, it was running full speed ahead. But here's the thing. Nobody likes to mention in the fairy tale version of her story. Even then, at the very beginning, there were tiny cracks forming in the perfect image. In the same month she was cast, internet detectives, because of course, started digging through her old tweets. A few eyebrow-raising ones popped up. Jokes about racism, weird takes on pop culture, petty mean girl comments. Nothing career-ending. Yet. But enough for some people to raise an eyebrow and go, should we keep an eye on her? Spoiler alert, yes. Still, in 2019, no one wanted to rain on the parade. This was the age of optimism. Hollywood needed a new face, someone young, talented, diverse, and squeaky clean. Rachel was perfect, or at least, she looked perfect when you squinted hard enough. Throughout 2019 and into 2020, Rachel spent her days shooting West Side Story, and her nights low-key growing her social media. She was tweeting, TikToking, Instagramming, building that relatable celeb image one post at a time. And she played the game well. Cute selfies, goofy videos, quotes about how grateful she was. Everything looked perfect. Until, and there's always an until, the pandemic hit. West Side Story's release got delayed. Suddenly, Rachel was stuck promoting a movie no one could see yet, trying to keep the momentum alive by tweeting more, a lot more. And that's where things slowly, quietly, started to get weird. Her tweets, once cute and charming, started getting a little cocky. She joked about being booked and busy while millions were losing jobs. She got snarky when fans asked about her upcoming projects. She fought with random people in her mentions. Classic main character behavior. Nothing dramatic enough to make headlines. Yet. But the perfect princess mask. It had started slipping, just a little. By late 2020, Hollywood insiders already had her pegged as high maintenance. One anonymous casting director reportedly told the Ankler that Rachel was extremely talented, but maybe not as humble as she seemed online. Ouch. Still, West Side Story was finally set to release in December 2021. Everyone assumed that once people saw her on the big screen, all the little controversies would vanish. Talent would speak louder than tweets, right? Right? Yeah. About that. And that's where the real story begins. Because if you thought Rachel's early internet stumbles were bad, wait until you see what happens when Hollywood actually gives her power and a live mic. So, it's December 2021. After nearly 3 years of delays, Disney finally lets West Side Story out of the vault, and boom. It's Rachel's debut film, directed by Steven freaking Spielberg, and critics are frothing at the mouth. Like, no joke, she's getting glowing reviews from everyone. Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh. The New York Times calls her performance a revelation. She wins a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a musical or comedy, and this is her first movie. Meanwhile, Zendaya's like, excuse me? But while Hollywood's elite is handing her awards on a silver platter, the internet has questions. Like, why does Rachel Zegler seem allergic to being likable? Because this is the era where the Rachel Zegler Twitter persona starts evolving from bubbly breakout star to something more like Twitter's most passive-aggressive theater kid. Let's talk about the tweets. Oh, the tweets. Instead of soaking up her big Hollywood moment, Rachel spends the entire West Side Story press tour tweeting things like, "I'm not white. Stop calling me white. I'm Colombian. Stop comparing me to Lea Michele. I can read. If you didn't like the movie, then don't talk to me." And the tone, somewhere between "I'm better than this" and "How dare you not worship me." Twitter, naturally, responds like Twitter always does, by dragging her every time she hits post. The thing is, people wanted to like her. They really did. But Rachel didn't want to just be liked. She wanted to control the conversation. And if that conversation wasn't adoring, she'd fight back. In one now infamous moment, someone tweeted a valid and honestly gentle critique of her West Side Story performance. Rachel replied with, "Sorry you feel that way. Hope you find peace." Oof. We call that the PR girl boss soft block. And let's not forget the Lea Michele drama. So, Rachel stars in a revival of Funny Girl at the same time. Lea Michele is publicly begging for the same role. Rachel tweets a shady little comment about being able to read. Fans immediately see it as a subtweet about Lea's rumored illiteracy. Yes, that was a thing. Yes, the internet is chaos. Instead of clarifying, Rachel leans in. More cryptic tweets, more smug likes, and the internet starts to get really tired of her. By early 2022, a new narrative is forming, and it's not one Rachel controls. Reddit threads start popping up. Why is Rachel Zegler so annoying? Why does Rachel make everything about herself? The Rachel Zegler downfall has begun. Her once loyal fandom starts defecting. Even her co-stars are noticeably quiet when she starts trending. And while Rachel's busy defending herself online, she's also getting ready for her next big movie role. And this is where things go from messy to legendary disaster. Because someone, somewhere inside Disney, took one look at Rachel's Twitter and said,
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
"Let's make her the new face of Snow White." Cue sirens. Cue the internet's collective side-eye. You cast the snarkiest, least filtered, most online actress in the world to play the most wholesome, sweet, beloved fairy tale princess ever? What could possibly go wrong? Everything. The answer is everything. But that story, oh that story, deserves its own meltdown. Because what happens next is the PR equivalent of driving a glitter-covered dump truck straight into a volcano. Let's rewind to June 22nd, 2021. Disney announces that Rachel Zegler, fresh off of being cast in West Side Story, will play the lead in their live-action remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is supposed to be her big moment, a modern Cinderella story, from YouTube covers to Spielberg to Disney royalty. But by the time the press tour even starts, Rachel somehow manages to turn it into the most cursed PR campaign since Jared Leto's method acting. Let's start with her infamous interview from September 2022. During the D23 Expo press event, Instead of doing the usual fake smile and wave PR dance, Rachel decides to slam the original 1937 Snow White film, Disney's crown jewel, and the film that literally saved the studio from bankruptcy.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
She's
is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
Disney fans, aka the people who keep Disneyland open and Disney adults fed, did not take this well. Especially when you're selling nostalgia, and Rachel's publicly stomping on it, like she's auditioning for Mean Girls instead of Snow White. And let's not forget the missing dwarfs. Literally. In July 2023, leaked set photos go viral, showing a random group of hipsters and a tall guy instead of the iconic Seven Dwarfs. Turns out Peter Dinklage, yes, Tyrion Lannister himself, called Disney out in early 2022 for being backward by even making a film with dwarfs at all. Disney's solution: erase the dwarfs entirely and replace them with one little person and 6 random people of various genders and heights, which just managed to offend everyone. Classic corporate move. Try to dodge one controversy and end up starting 10 more. Meanwhile, Rachel's quote about not being able to watch the original movie as an adult because it's weird becomes a full-blown meme. People start calling her Zegler the Zealot, a Disney hater cast in a Disney movie, and memes flood Twitter, comparing her to Kylo Ren trying to destroy the past. By the time September 2023 rolls around, Rachel's PR is in full meltdown. She's now trending weekly for not promoting her own film. Fans notice she doesn't repost trailers, she doesn't share Disney content, and she starts getting called out for hating the film she's starring in. Even worse, multiple Twitter sleuths uncover old clips of Rachel subtly dissing her co-stars or looking visibly annoyed at premieres. A few even claim she has diva behavior behind the scenes. And just when things couldn't spiral faster, the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike hits. Now, in a vacuum, the strike was a good cause. Actors fighting for streaming rights, pay, and protections. But Rachel, sweet summer child, goes viral again when she says she needs to be paid to show up to work 18 hours a day.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Internet reaction? Nuclear. People are like, girl, you're making millions for playing Disney princess cosplay, calm down. At this point, Rachel's like the villain of her own redemption arc. The real-life evil queen in a movie where no one even knows who's directing anymore. And speaking of directors, let's talk about Marc Webb. Remember him? The guy who directed The Amazing Spider-Man and somehow ended up directing Snow White? He basically disappears from the press tour entirely. No interviews, no clarifications. It's like even he doesn't want to be associated with this cursed remake anymore. Meanwhile, David Hand Jr., the actual son of one of the 1937 animators, calls Disney's new Snow White insulting and a disgrace. You know things are bad when Disney's own legacy family is disowning your film. So now we have a perfect storm, a cursed production, a lead actress alienating the fan base, a director in hiding, a strike shutting down press, and Disney trying to quietly delay the release from March 2024 to 2025. By late 2023, Rachel Zegler's PR was already limping. The Snow White scandal had her trending for all the wrong reasons. Disney had delayed the movie a whole year, and the fan base that once celebrated her as a rising star now had her blocked on Twitter. But just when you thought the backlash couldn't level up, she posted about Palestine. Now let's be very clear. This isn't about who's right or wrong in a global conflict. This is about Hollywood panic mode. Because Rachel Zegler was, at that very moment, the lead in a $300 million Disney tentpole, and her post just set off alarms in every PR office from Burbank to Broadway. Marc Platt, producer of Snow White, Wicked, La La Land, and a certified Hollywood power player. According to insiders, Marc personally flew from Los Angeles to New York in a panic, where Rachel was performing on stage in Romeo and Juliet at the Public Theater. Yep. Platt reportedly went backstage to have a little chat with Rachel, less break a leg, and more delete that post before Disney breaks their contract with you. It worked. Within hours, the story was gone, but the damage already done. The post caught the attention of entertainment journalists, Twitter sleuths, and, most dangerously, anonymous industry insiders who began whispering that Rachel was becoming a liability. One executive allegedly told Variety off the record that Disney was exhausted by her. Another claimed they were considering AI voiceovers to help salvage Snow White's final edit. And here's where the timeline gets messier. Remember, this wasn't just some random post. Rachel's decision came while she was still under contract for Snow White, Paddington in Peru, and the upcoming Wicked musical opposite Ariana Grande. Studios were on high alert. This wasn't the time for politics. Not if you're Disney branded and already trending for dragging Snow White through a feminist Tumblr blog. Meanwhile, fans on both sides of the political spectrum turned on her. Pro-Israel commentators called for her to be blacklisted. Pro-Palestine activists accused her of being fake and only posting for clout, especially after she deleted it without explanation. Even her most loyal stans were confused. Was she being silenced by Disney? Was she backtracking? Was it a stunt? Things got worse. Just days later, Rachel was booed during curtain call at a Romeo and Juliet performance in New York City. Security at the Public Theater allegedly had to monitor crowds more closely after audience members began recording her entrances and exits. The online hate morphed into something darker. Conspiracy-level commentary now accused her of everything from being blacklisted to Illuminati-controlled. Reddit threads speculated that Disney might recast her mid-production, even though the movie was already shot. She became a symbol, not for activism, not for art, but for Hollywood contradiction. Here was Rachel Zegler, the Gen Z face of Disney, cast in a girl boss reboot nobody asked for, caught in the crosshairs of real-world war discourse, studio fear-mongering, and internet cancellation. She was too political for Disney, too corporate for activists, and too cringe for meme lords. To top it off, news leaked that her team had entered damage control mode. One PR consultant reportedly told her to go dark. No interviews, no statements, no posts. That's when fans coined the phrase, the Rachel Zegler strategic disappearance era. She stopped appearing at events, stopped tweeting, even skipped high-profile press days for Paddington in Peru, allegedly due to scheduling conflicts. But let's be honest, no one was buying that. If you thought Rachel Zegler's Snow White disaster peaked with reshoots and rage tweets, think again. Because when the film finally stumbled into theaters, the audience was waiting, pitchforks sharpened, Rotten Tomatoes tabs open, popcorn seasoned with petty. Snow White officially premiered in Spain on March 12th, 2025. But the real test came on March 21st, US theatrical release day. And yikes. Opening weekend box office, $26.7 million. For a Disney princess reboot, with a production budget north of $330 million, not including marketing, PR cleanup, and please forget Rachel said that campaigns. For context, that's less than Encanto pulled in during a pandemic. It's less than Haunted Mansion. It's less than Flamin' Hot. And the audience response, not exactly happily ever after. IMDb rating, tanked to 3.9 out of 10 within 48 hours. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, a brutal 27%. One Redditor put it best. This isn't Snow White, it's Snow Woke. The dwarves are CGI, the prince is gone. The script sounds like it was written by ChatGPT, and Rachel acts like she's above it all. And then came the memes. Oh, the memes. Clips of Rachel Zegler's earlier interviews, where she trashed the original Snow White, mocked Prince Charming, and insisted her version was a modern feminist take, resurfaced like rotting leftovers. TikTok was flooded with edits of Rachel comparing her film to The Godfather, while side-by-sides of her monotone delivery and the original 1937 Snow White's charm did numbers in the millions. Some fans called it the Morbius of Disney. Others declared it the worst live-action remake since Pinocchio. And a few truly savage ones asked if Cats wanted its crown back. Even former Zegler defenders were now suspiciously silent. Twitter accounts that once clapped back at critics suddenly pivoted to wicked hype. And remember all those think pieces defending Rachel's outspokenness? They quietly disappeared, like Disney's hopes of a sequel. Meanwhile, insiders at Disney, the same ones who insisted reshoots would save everything, were reportedly in full damage control mode. One anonymous exec told Deadline, "We tried to reframe the narrative, but the audience had already decided. The internet never forgets, and this time, it bit back hard." As the weeks passed, the Snow White numbers only got worse. Total domestic gross barely passed $70 million by April. Internationally, flatlined. It was clear. Snow White 2025 wasn't just a flop. It was a cultural cautionary tale. The kind that gets taught in future marketing classes titled How Not to Alienate Your Core Audience. After the cinematic train wreck that was Snow White 2025, Rachel Zegler didn't just step away from the spotlight. She vanished like Disney prophets. Her Instagram, radio silent. Her TikTok, deleted comments. Her publicist, probably on Xanax. And her fans? Well, what fans? She went into full ghost mode. No red carpets, no awkward interviews, not even a thanks for watching post. It was like she triggered her own strategic disappearance era. And this time, it wasn't just about backlash. It was survival. Because let's be honest, by April 2025, Rachel wasn't just the face of a bad movie. She had become a meme of everything wrong with modern Hollywood. Overhyped, overexposed, underdelivered, and things got weirdly poetic. While she was hiding from critics and cancel threads, guess who made headlines? Ariana Grande, with the tabloids speculating she was lobbying to replace Rachel in Disney's next live-action Hercules. Ouch. Madonna, still allegedly fuming about Rachel's Evita casting, was now said to be funding a rival West End revival. And even Gal Gadot, who played the Evil Queen, was suddenly the internet's pick for best part of Snow White, which, considering Gal's track record, says a lot. As of now, Rachel's IMDb page is a time capsule of chaos. Shazam 2 flopped. The Hunger Games prequel, mid at best. Snow White, catastrophic. Evita, controversial. Upcoming roles, crickets. If Hollywood was a high school, Rachel Zegler went from valedictorian to, oh right, her. And yet, in the weirdest twist of all, this might not be the end. Because Hollywood has the memory of a goldfish and the ego of a Greek god. All it takes is one hit, one rebrand, one I've grown and learned interview, and boom, comeback arc. But for now, Rachel Zegler is standing in front of the metaphorical mirror asking, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, what the hell just happened to my career?"